my PhD, my mother-in-law said to me, "Wait a minute, as long as you're having fun, lots of fun taking care of little ones and going for a degree." When I got into Columbia, my sister-in-law said, "Don't all middle-aged people get accepted if they apply to Columbia?" I was 35 at the time. And then, when they wanted me on television as a personality, my father said to me, "Don't go." "Why?" I said to him. "Because you won't know what to say." All my life, I was treated as if I didn't have what it took. But then again, I kept doing it. When I was little and lived at home, my biggest joy was taking care of my parents. Immigrant Jews. My mother needed a girdle. I ran to the department store. "Quick," I said, "you have to find me a girdle. I need the panels on the side, and make sure the panels are in the front, with garter belts." Everyone was looking at me, but it was so important for me to see my mother happy. I remember going home, giving her the girdle. And I also bought a bra. The girdle came up to here, the bra came up to here. There's no place for the fat to come out except right over here. But then again, nobody knew, because she put on her dress for the Sabbath, she put on her sheitel, her wig, and I admired her as she walked to temple. I was so proud. And then when she came home, the party began, because we had everything that she made the night before. But let me tell you a little bit about me and how it all started. I'm sure you could identify with what's going on with me. How many of you come from first, second generation immigrants? Well, I did. My parents are Holocaust survivors. And I learned about it when I was actually just getting married. First of all, my father and mother came to America with 4 children. And the first apartment that the Jewish Federation gave us was something we'll always remember. "Come, come," said my father. We all ran to look. In a closet, we looked down like the skies were opening up. And the sun was shining at us. And we marveled at what we saw, because right there in front of us was a toilet, something we never saw inside a house. And then they sent us food. "What is this jar of brown, gooey stuff? They're sending this to us? How dare them," my father said, and he quickly threw it in the garbage. Later we found out that that brown, gooey stuff was actually peanut butter. But at that time, we didn't know. But my father had a lot of pride. He didn't want to take money from the government. So the very next day, he walked to the city. It took him a half a day to walk, where it would have taken him an hour if he had money for the bus. My mother took 2 thick pieces of challah, put some butter in the middle, and a jar, because we didn't have a thermos, and she made coffee. My father came back. He was beaming. He got a job. And that Sabbath, we celebrated. We went to the city to buy the food. "Do you have any cracked eggs?" my mother yelled to the storekeeper. "Why are you yelling that you want cracked eggs?" I asked her. "Why are you so proud to be so cheap?" I was so ashamed. "Frieda," she said to me, "a penny with a penny makes $1. And she was right. They were the first of their friends to buy a house, and the first of their friends to become citizens. Well, anyway, my journey for the Sabbath making for the food had just begun, because next we were going to get fish. We're walking up this thin, dark alley, and we're opening the door, and out steps a man with a horn in his ear, and he goes, "Eh?" And my brother and me got so scared. "Eh?" he said. welcomed us in. A little while later, they tell us to go into the bathroom, and my parents, I see, are looking down into a bathtub. What's in a bathtub, I wondered. It was full of water and 2 swimming fish, carp. My mother was delighted to be able to buy fresh, living fish, and we took that fish home, along with chicken and intestines from a cow, and we had compote. And that night, I remember my mother gave me this wooden bowl with the 2 fish, and I'm sitting there like a little girl, chop, 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 for must have been almost an hour. And she threw in some eggs, and she threw in some mozzarella, and she even tasted it. Yuck! But she took it in little balls, put it in water, and the next day it was delicious. But that was just the appetizer. We then had stuffed kishka, the intestines of a cow, which was my favorite. And then stuffed chicken and compote, which is prunes and apples and pears cooked in water, and simis, carrots and prunes again. Ah, my stomach hurts me just thinking about it. And at 2 o'clock, my father would say, "Wait a minute, we have an appointment," and we all scurried off to our beds, because that was the time we rested for 2 hours. How unhealthy is that? And then when we got up after the Sabbath, company came, and my parents went out after the Sabbath, and every weekend we celebrated this holiday. And I felt sorry for my shiksa friend, because, you know, she only had a hamburger, and at that days they were wearing these saddle shoes, and she had to polish her own shoes, and I felt so sorry for her. But those were the days that we had of celebrations. My sister and me were celebrating my brother's bar mitzvah, and we all took turns falling because the floor was polished and our heels were new. But we had wonderful memories together. My mother told the landlord that we actually were not in existence. She had no children. So we ended up living upstairs, no carpeting, just socks. And when he found out we were so good, that he let us stay. Those were our memories that we had. But let me tell you, my parents came from a place where it wasn't so memorable as far as having fun. And the things they endured during the Holocaust made me want to take care of them forever. Who are you looking at, I would say, when someone walked by snickering at these 2 little Jewish immigrants? I would do whatever it took to protect my parents. I didn't want my father to have to pay for me to go to college. Instead, I waited till I got married and went and got an associate. And then I got into Columbia, all when I had children, all because I wanted to protect my parents. And when they opened the door and they said, "Where is that old lady who had twins at 60?" I said, "I guess that must be me." Because to me, having twins at 60 wasn't so revolutionary. You know, there was always a stigma attached to me. Stay home? Be passive? No. Hell no. I went to work, got a PhD, got a career, and had children. And then, the whole time, when I was going to lie about my age, the doctor came in and said, "You may as well tell everyone your age." And I said to myself, who am I? Who cares about me? Little old me. Maybe I'll make some difference to the world. Yes, I'm 60, I said. And yes, I had twins. And yes, I'm the oldest woman. So what? So what? You know, the other day I was on television, and Rod Stewart was right after me. He had a child, the same child age as me. They didn't even want to speak about it. It's because I was a woman, and I guess I'm still a woman, but the inequality continues to exist.